So, what do we have here? A banana development Contra. But this is not the Contra you remember. This is the Contra I remember. I want to thank Inich for this video. He's the biggest Contra fan I know, and he's actually a Sri Lankan guy too. So thank you, Inich. I played this game way back in the day. This was back when I only had a PC. And it was like an old DOS computer with CGA graphics. It wasn't even EGA or VGA, it was CGA, Color Graphics Adapter, the first one. And as you can see, it has horrible graphics, horrible color, but you have to keep it in context, you know. Back in those days, you know, the stuff that came before it was black and white and shit. But this was a horrible port of Contra. What was horrible about it was not just the graphics, but the control. And it was awful because I didn't have back in those days you didn't have gamepads for the PC. Having a gamepad for the PC was rare. So you had to use your keyboard. But the problem was, if you were to push right, the character would constantly start running. He would run and wouldn't stop running until he hits a wall or until he dies or until you hit the button again. So meaning if you just push it once, push once on the right arrow button, he'll keep running in that direction and won't stop until he dies, hits a wall, or you push it again. And that made the game damn near impossible to play. And as you can see from this guy, he's having a hard enough time just controlling your character as it is. He managed to hack the game so that he has unlimited lives, but in the original game you only had 3 lives and maybe, I don't know, maybe a few continues or something like that, but it was ridiculously hard. I don't think it's actually possible, even theoretically possible, to beat this game. I was able to get to the 4th level, and that would be, okay, the first is the jungle stage, second is the 3D stage, third is waterfall stage, then 4th is the second 3D stage. I was able to make it to that stage, but then I could not make it any further, no matter how hard I tried. As you can see from him, he's dying left and right. I only had 3 lives, or something like that, I don't know, a couple of lives, and possibly a few continues. So the fact that I was even able to get to the 4th level was amazing in and of itself. I never saw the ice stage or the snow stage, so I first saw that on many years later on the NES. I remember seeing this on the NES for the first time, and this was way after I had already been playing this on the PC, and I was thinking, wow. I don't know, wait a minute, no, I didn't think wow, I thought, oh wow, this is different. I didn't think, wow, this looks so much better. I thought, wow, this looks so different, but it's the same game. I know this game. And I was interested, but I wasn't really blown away by the superior graphics or anything. It just was different. But of course the NES version was a million times better graphics, and most importantly of all, better control. As you can see here, it's everything's pink and this weird blue. Back in those days, these were the only colors that it could support, just a couple of colors, and that was it. So you didn't have a lot of choice, but this was based off of the arcade game, which looked a lot better. So I guess it's not really fair for me to say that, this was good even from back in those days, because, really, I guess it wasn't, because you did have this in the arcades, and it looked pretty good. That was the original version. So as you can see from this 3D stage, it's just you're constantly dying. How did I manage to not die enough so that I can make it to the 4th stage? I don't know. I always thought the enemies in this game were interesting. They're like humanoid things, but they weren't I knew they weren't people. They were just too different and weird to be people. They're like these weird humanoid alien things, and I always liked that about Contra. This was my first Contra game, but actually, despite how awful this port is, I still liked it because compared to the other games I had, this was a damn good game, even though it was impossible to play. It just shows how good Contra is. Even a crappy-ass port is still enjoyable, as long as it's still Contra, and at its core it is Contra, even though it's fucking impossible. And now, this is the gateway to the first boss. I remember when I saw the first boss, and you're gonna see it in just a second here. I was like blown away by this. Like when I first saw this, when I finally got to this boss, I was like, holy shit. I nearly crapped my pants. I was so excited and I was scared at the same time. I think I paused it, trying to take it all in. I was thinking to myself, wow, I'm never gonna get past this, am I? And of course, I did die. But eventually I was able to shoot off all those fucking things, and this guy, he's having a hard enough time trying to aim at the fucking target as it is. That's how bad the controls are. And then that thing at the top comes up. I mean, isn't this like the most bizarre boss you ever seen? I mean, it's just so unique and cool. This was really something else, Konami knows how to make good damn games. And this is a good damn game. I mean, a fucking alien thing, radio shit thing. I don't know what the fuck that you call that, but it's awesome. And of course, this is the waterfall stage. When I got to this, I was so happy. Just getting to another level and accomplishing that, you're so happy, but then you're so disappointed because you know that you're just gonna die in a second. Like, there's a difference between having a good challenge and having something that's so hard that you can't even enjoy the game, no matter how much you memorize the game. It's difficult to enjoy, and I don't want to say that about the original Contra or about Contra for the NES, because those can be challenging and difficult, but they're beatable. This version was not. But when I first got to this part, where you see that fucking alien fortress shit, oh, that was really awe-inspiring. And you see the cannons firing and stuff like that. I mean, that's damn cool, even for a CGA game. When I first saw this, I really was blown away by how awesome this was. And I didn't know that it was based off of like an arcade game. I thought that it was like an original title for the PC or some shit. I didn't know. So it was impressive nonetheless. And that is that's fucking awesome. It's hard though. I don't know how I got past this. I mean, look how many times he's dying. There's aliens coming in from the left and the right. Then there's that fucking turret there that he can't aim at. Then there's the fucking cannons at the top. You have to kill all of this shit. And I think no matter, I mean, he just keeps dying over and over again. He's not gonna make it to the next stage. Oh well, probably not. Oh man, he's just like coming down over and over again. Well, I guess I'll stop the video here. I'm not really sure what else to say. I did get past this stage though. I got to the second 3D stage, and then that was it though. I was done at that point. No matter how hard I tried, I could not do it. And this was back in the day when I was a fucking kid. A fucking kid with a lot of time on my hands. I had no other good games to play. This was the best. Even though it was impossible to beat. This was definitely the best. So I put in a lot of fucking time. So if I couldn't beat it back then it was impossible to beat. Anyway, I hope that was kind of interesting, taking a trip down my memory lane. This is Enigma Hood signing off.